Hello, my name is Robyn Harris of Wild Wellbeing, and I support people with chronic and unexplained health conditions and trauma to really tune back into their body, to listen to their body, and to allow it to guide them back to well-being because our body doesn't make mistakes. It doesn't go wrong. It doesn't attack itself. It makes adaptations, and those adaptations are very specific and very purposeful. They're not random. So I support people to understand this, to understand why their body is doing what it's doing, and so to take away the fear of dis-ease and help people to get back in touch with their agency, their sense of control and ability to craft their own well-being and the life that they desire to be living, because we really do have the resources inside of us. It's just that sometimes we maybe feel we don't have access to those resources, or we're not able to see them, identify them, bring them into play as fully as we would like. And the reason I set up this business is because that is my story. I was in a place where I felt very low, miserable. I'd even reached the point of desperation. I couldn't see any way out of the situation in which I found myself. I was experiencing a lot of health niggles, and I just couldn't seem to shake them off to create the life that I wanted to be living, a life where I felt happy and healthy and engaged and enjoying my life. So I tried lots of different approaches and they just didn't seem to be working for me. They weren't hitting that spot. So I went off on a journey, and the journey led to me creating Wild Wellbeing, Wild being an acronym, but it also relates very strongly to nature. I think nature, we are a part of nature, we live within nature, nature is within us. And she has so much wisdom to share about how we can come into balance and harmony. And when we do that, our body heals itself in a very natural way. And my big vision for the future of my business would be that I can share this wisdom, share this learning that I've experienced with more people to help take away their fear of dis-ease and to give them back that sense of agency so that they have a sense of what to do to best support themselves. It's a very individual thing. But when we start to look within and develop those tools, and we can adopt and adapt them for our own needs, for our own situation, then it gives us that power, that agency. And we know that no matter what curveballs life will throw us, because life can get messy and life does tend to throw us curveballs, those things that just throw us off balance and come out of the blue sometimes. But even when that happens, if we've got that toolkit, we know that we're going to be okay. We're going to be able to navigate. We're going to be able to get through that white water, or however you choose to see it, and come out the other side where things are calmer and we feel we've got this. So that's my big vision, to share this with more people so that more people feel that sense of empowerment and that sense of well-being and joy in life. And if you want to know more about me and my work, the best place to start is to go to my website, and that's at www.equenergy, EQUENERGY.com. And equenergy is a fusion of words: equilibrium, that's where the EQU comes from, and energy, because when we bring those energies back into balance, equilibrium, that's when our body can heal itself in a very natural way. And question one that I'm choosing to answer for this interview is If you could choose only one answer, what is the number one way that building your business has enriched your life? And why would you encourage other women to pursue building their own businesses as a form of self-discovery and empowerment? And the number one way that building my business has enriched my life is that building a business, and particularly when you're following your passion, is that it really pushes you to dig deep. It pushes you to go within and to get to know yourself and your passion more deeply, to really bring that out, to bring out your unique individual voice, to share that passion. And in doing that, it's quite a journey. I know that I certainly have been on one amazing journey in developing my business and growing it and reaching out to more people. I've met such inspiring people along the way as well. So that's what I think we can get from that journey, from that experience. When we set up our own business, it encourages us to dive deep, to really get to the core of who we are and the message that we have to share, and to find our voice, to be able to stand up. It's quite a vulnerable position. So to be able to stand up in that vulnerability, to own it, to be authentic, to have our voice and to share that with the world. I tend to think that our purpose actually is to become more the person we were born to be. And yes, that may have a big picture purpose, but not necessarily. If our purpose is to be within our own little circle and to be the best that we can be within that, that is amazing. Or if our purpose is to stand up in front of millions of people and share a message with them, that is also amazing. It's very individual, and it's what's right for us as that individual. But when you're setting up your own business, it's finding out the deep core of who you are and being able to be authentic, be vulnerable, stand up, share your message. And that pushes you to grow. It pushes you to find out all the resources that you have within you and to really draw deep on those. And I think that is so amazing for really getting to know who you are, for really stepping into your purpose and sharing your message. How do you set your business apart from others in your industry? I think my business is unique, as is any business, because it is the person behind that business. And that's what people are looking for. They're looking to connect with that individual, no matter what your business is. And for me, that is what sets me apart. It's what sets us all apart when we can really step into that and be ourselves in our business. Also, the particular learning that each of us does along our journey. And for me, I've learned a particular combination of well-being tools and practices and approaches that are very unique and individual to me. I do something called meta consciousness, which is, it's very rare, not many practitioners as yet in this. It comes from German New Medicine, and then it went through various evolutions, and the latest form is metaconsciousness. And it draws on so much wisdom, historical wisdom, current wisdom, science, and spirituality, and brings them all together in a very wonderful, unique, empowering way. I'm also very much into our energy and how we can bring that into play to support ourselves and our well-being. So I use tapping, EFT, and then also I work with nature and with animals. I bring animal wisdom into the work that I do, both to support people and to work with the animals to support their well-being. So I think I bring a very unique combination to my practice. What was one of the biggest challenges that you have to overcome as you were growing your business? I've kind of touched on this. For me, I think the biggest challenge was to stand up, be visible, be vulnerable, step into that growth process to become who I feel at my core I really am, because that can be really challenging. Growing up, I did not feel safe to be visible. I wanted to hide away. I kept myself small. So now to step into that bigger picture self, that vulnerability. I am a solopreneur, so my business is me. And to bring that to the world, to stand up and speak out, to use my voice and be in that vulnerable position is a big challenge for me. But having taken that challenge, having faced it head on, I find I love it. I really enjoy it. And I've actually become a public speaker now, which is something I never thought I'd be able to do. So that's more of the growth and the joy that setting up your own business allows you to experience. What was one of the number one money blocks that I experienced, and how did I rise above that? That relates back to my previous answer, in that my money block was about my sense of self-worth, my sense of being able to step into a bigger picture me, to own that sovereign energy, to be in a vulnerable place and to speak out my truth and to let that be seen in the world. And when you feel like you're an imposter because your sense of self-worth isn't good and you have that imposter syndrome, that's a huge challenge. And that imposter syndrome as well can mean that that low sense of self-worth means you feel you can't charge, you're not valuing what you do to be able to charge what is a good rate, but you don't feel worthy of it. So, and also being a business, we have to earn a living, we need to make an income. So all of these things were acting as a block for me, and I needed to get past them. And I'm actually working on this currently because I'm working with a money mindset coach who's really helping me to dig deep, to get to the bottom of the root cause behind what's blocking me, behind that sense of self-worth, that imposter syndrome, that ability to stand up and own what I do, and to be comfortable in just seeing it as another form of energy, and money being an exchange, it's a form of energy. So I also came to realize that if I don't do that, if I don't step into the bigger picture me, own it, share it with the world, I'm doing a disservice, as we all are. We all have these amazing tools, our unique individual tools within us. And when we're running a business, the aim of that business is probably to bring those tools, those unique individual tools, and to share them in your unique way that nobody else is ever going to do in the way that you do it. So when we are not able, when we have those blocks stopping us from doing that, then it's a disservice to ourselves, to our business, but also to the people who need us, the people out there who are looking specifically for what we offer. So that's my block and how I'm currently working to move even further past that block. Have you ever had coaching to help you with your mindset and business growth? And why would you recommend others to hire a coach? I've just mentioned one of the coaches that I'm currently working with. And in the past, I've worked with a variety of coaches who do different things, work on different aspects of a business. Because as I was kind of saying towards the beginning, there's so much growth and learning that we can do when we set up a business. Setting up a business, you probably have something that you're going to share, whether that's a business skill or, like me, a well-being skill or something else. And we will have that skill that we love, that we're passionate about, but there'll be other areas of the business that maybe we aren't so familiar with or we're not terribly fond of. Maybe it's the accounts, or it's the social media, or it's the visibility and maybe using video and getting out there with your message. So I've worked with coaches to support me in the areas that I wasn't so familiar with. The first coach I worked with was a branding coach who helped me to understand how to brand and why that is so important. And it really gets you that recognition, visibility and recognition for your business and for what you do, and for people to understand that and remember that, and for you to stick in their minds. I'd worked with a visibility coach as well, because I wanted to get seen by more people so that I could share my message with more people and that people would really get it and understand it. And having that clarity, being able to share my message with the right people in the right way, and for them to really get what it is that I'm sharing. So those are some of the coaches that I've worked with. And I think that's so valuable because, as I say, there are lots of areas to running a business and we won't be experts in all of them. Some work we may outsource. I outsource to a virtual assistant to do some of my social media. But also, it gives us that understanding so that we have an overview of the aspects that we may not do for ourselves, but we can still keep an eye on what's going on, or to have that deeper understanding. And maybe we find that we enjoy it and we want to do more of it ourselves. So just having that good rounded knowledge of what's involved in running your business and supporting you to do the bits that you enjoy and that you want to do, and to do them well and effectively. That's what I think a coach brings. And also they bring that objective perspective, because when our business is ours, we're so close to it, it can be difficult to take that step back. But the coach can give us that perspective from the outside and let us know how we look to the people who are following us. How do you define success, and what does it look like in a day in your life? This is an interesting one because it's very much something that I explore with people that I work with. I think, just like everything else that I've been talking about, this is a very individual thing. For some people, success may be in how much they earn, or how many people they have working for them, or the size of their business. For me, success is in terms very much of how I feel and how the people I work with feel. My business is all about bringing joy in, bringing well-being to our lives and to our experiences. So feeling is a big part of it. And for me, I want to be the role model for my business. So I'm looking for what helps me to feel more uplifted, more positive, more authentic, that I have more agency, more empowered, so that that's what I can then bring to the lives of the people that I work with. And I want to see them feeling all of that and finding joy in their lives again. That's what success means to me, that I have those things for myself and that I see them in the people that I work with, that I see them uplifted, joyful, that their well-being is improving, that they're able to get back their joy, their vitality, their zest for life, to get back to the things that maybe they previously had to stop doing, their hobbies and seeing their friends and all the things they love, that they can bring those back into their lives and fly, basically, that they're really able to take all that we have done together and be able to travel forward themselves, that they've now got their own map, their own compass, their own set of tools, and they feel free to follow their own path and know that they have everything they need to do that successfully. What has been the biggest victory or milestone that you have achieved in your business so far? Well, last month I published my book. It's called Take a Walk on the Wild Side, and it's the story of my journey, how I came to set up Wild, what Wild stands for, and how that supports our well-being. It's not a set of steps, but rather a perspective, because on my journey, I came across Wayne Dyer's quote of, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. And there's a quote that comes from the Talmud that says, we don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. So when we can understand that our perspective determines our experience, and it's our thoughts and beliefs that determine that perspective, that set of filters or lenses through which we look at the world. And when we can choose that, when we're in a place where we're able to choose and craft and create that for ourselves, then we can create the life we want to be living. And when there are things that hold us down or hold us back, when we have the tools to work on those, address those, start to release those and transform those, that's when things really start to work well for us. So when I reached the point of being able to write my book, to get through the hurdles and the journey of writing my book, it was such a challenge to delve deep, to look back into my history and to put that down on the page where people were going to read it, to again have that exposure, that vulnerability, and to achieve that. Because when you are an author, somebody said to me, being an author means you're an authority, but it's that sense of, that's my book. I wrote that. It's a real book. It's in print, being able to hold it, feel it. People even say, smell it. That reality is incredible. It's an amazing feeling and an amazing empowering step for your business or for yourself as a person. So if you ever feel like you might have a book inside of you, I thoroughly encourage you to explore that. And even if you don't think you'll ever publish it, just have a go. Just try writing it. I never thought I'd write a book. I never thought I had anything valuable enough to say, or that I'd be able to put the words together to say it, but I have. And it's an incredible feeling, so I highly recommend it. What will you never compromise on with your business? For me, that's my values and my boundaries, because those are so important. And again, I talked earlier about tuning into our body. Our body tells us what our values are. When we value something, we feel passionate about it. When we have a value that's different from what we're seeing or hearing, maybe on the television or reading in a magazine or a book, if the values are clashing between what we're seeing and what we feel inside of ourselves, our body will tell us. And it will pull us down if we're following something that isn't in alignment with our values. And that's what I want to share with the people I work with, with anybody who reads any of my messages or follows me. That's a core central part of what I share. And so for me, that is something that is non-negotiable. I will not compromise on those values because otherwise I'm not I'm not walking my talk. And that is a very important thing to me too. That I walk my talk, that I'm being true to what I share, because how can I ask somebody to do something if I'm not doing it myself? And if other people's values are different, that's absolutely fine. And for them to follow their values is what's right for them. I'm not saying that we have to follow a certain set of values. I'm saying that to know what our values are and to follow those is to be authentic to ourselves, is to empower ourselves, is to be true, following our true nature. And that as well supports our well-being. If we're not being true to our true nature, that causes discomfort, which can lead to dis-ease. So that's the thing that I'm really passionate about and never want to compromise on. What is your least favorite part and your favorite part about being an entrepreneur? I think the least favorite part is maybe the financial side. As I mentioned, that can be a challenge for me. And I'm not so keen on accounts. I kind of know what I'm doing in terms of basic bookkeeping. And other than that, I have an accountant. So I just keep all my records month on month. And then at the end of the financial year, I let my accountant deal with that. And I'm not terribly keen on social media. I find that it can be so overwhelming and just take up so much of your time. I can get lost down those rabbit holes and just keep clicking. So I actually like writing posts and I like sharing those, but the keeping up to speed with the all the different places to post, that's where I find it challenging, and the different groups to be in and which groups to follow and which groups to be active in and which are the best for me and my business. So I have a virtual assistant, a VA, who helps me with that. I still write my posts, but she posts them. I create a schedule and she posts my posts to that schedule. But it's great to have her there that I can just hand that over to her and she will deal with all of that for me. And that frees up my time to do the pieces of the aspects of my work that I really do love and enjoy. So that's my least favorite aspects. My favorite aspect, I think, is that ability to be independent, to make my own choices, to feel empowered, and to work with the people that I work with. As I said earlier, they are so inspiring. Just seeing their strength, their resilience, their determination, seeing them bring up the resources that they have within them, to reconnect with those and to bring their unique light to the world, to their to what they do. That is just so amazing and so inspiring. So I think that would be the favorite parts of what I do. And to see their faces light up. I see people come to me and their faces are tight and tense with frown lines and uh, maybe their mouth turned down and they're looking sad and stressed and anxious. And then to see that weight lift and their eyes come alight and alive and their mouth start to turn upwards in a smile, that is the most amazing feeling. And my last question is, what is something fun or interesting that your audience doesn't know about you? There's a couple of things I could share here. One is that I'm fluent in British Sign Language because I qualified as an interpreter. And so I love to put together my well-being work and my sign language ability and to share some well-being information with deaf people. So some of what I share, some of the posts that I do, some of the videos that I have, some of the workshops that I run, I do them in sign language so that deaf people can have access to that information as well in a direct way rather than having to go through an interpreter or translation of some kind. And also, I have a motorbike license. I qualified just at the basic level when I was in my early 30s, and then went on. I did my 2 years on that level, and then started to ride a much bigger bike. And I don't have it anymore, but I used to love just riding around the countryside, that sense of freedom and being able to go anywhere that you get when you're out on a motorcycle. So that's me. I hope that you find this interesting, and I'd love to hear from you if you would like to connect. And if you've got any questions, just get in touch. Bye bye.